Come in, everybody. Yes, yes.
Hi, everyone. As you come in, please turn your videos off.
Thanks, everybody. Oh, man. Hey. Yes, 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 yes. Hi, everybody. Wow. Oh, this is wonderful. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Come on in. Oh, great. Yes. Just come into the chat and say hi and let me know you're here, please. Thank you, everybody, for waiting. You know, we have these two incredible interpreters. Yeah, come on in. Well, I'll introduce them to you, Candace and Sharon. And, you know, part of the work we're doing is making sure that we have an interpreter at every event that we do. We have two interpreters who are incredible, but we have so much information, and we realized, has anybody had interpreters on Zoom? And have we figured that out? Have we figured out how to be able to see an interpreter and somebody at the same time? So this is part of what we're figuring out. If anybody has any tips for this, please share them with us. But right now, we were just a little bit late because we want to make sure that these incredible interpreters get to actually be able to collaborate with us in a way that we all get to benefit. Thanks, everybody. Come in. Woo! Thanks, everybody. So welcome. I'm going to introduce Sharon right away. I'm so happy that, and we'll introduce Candace later. Sharon is getting us rolling. So what I want to do is say welcome, everybody. I'm really psyched you're here. And what I want to tell you most of all is we created all of this stuff in the last 6 months just because we wanted to. So the fact that the time and the need met each other is, so what I want to do is I want to, before I introduce you to this incredible group of people that we have to share great information with you today, the first thing that I want to do is say this is our second coalition. So hey, I'm Sheri Sanders, if you don't know me. I'm an educator and an activist and an ally. And hey, I think somebody needs to mute their mic. I'm hearing a lot of fuss and arounds. If you've got your mic on, please mute it for me. Thank you. Oh my God, my heart's racing. This is our second coalition. Our first coalition was for disability and accessibility. That's where we learned a few great things. One, that interpreters are incredible. And I can't wait to have ASL and musical theater be a class that I teach. But what was also awesome about it is that I had an incredible team, and that was Becca Barrett, Emily Nash, Michael Kushner, Ali Gorey, and Devin Perry, and they helped us launch the Disability and Accessibility Coalition. And this was part of when I was launching the second edition of my book. So thank you to those Huns who created this first coalition event. And here's the second one that came purely by miracle. And so what I want to do is share with you that the whole idea here today, before we begin, is that our community is in trouble. And we believe that the word coalition, in my mind, is I help you, you help them, they help me, and that the LGBTQIA+ community can help the disability community, and the neurodivergent community can help the race and equity community. We all are going to help each other get this place better. And so I just wanted to let you know that this is what today is going to be, is what that means to us. So I want to thank the folks who started the first coalition with us for the second reason, not just giving us interpreters, but because they've given us this absolutely incredible, I guess I would call them ground rules. So we want to start with the ground rules before we even start this unbelievable day. And these ground rules are going to be shared with you by Mark Munoz, who is a member of the OCU Care Initiative. And we want to use these ground rules till the end of time because they're the way that we're able to help create a safe and now brave space. Mark, where are you? Yay, this is Mark.
Hi everyone, my name is Mark Mendez Munoz, and I'm just here to share these rules like Sheri said with y'all. So rule number one diva, one mic. This is, a lot of people are in this space right now. I'm looking at the number 150.
Woo!
This is a space of courage and vulnerability. So when someone's speaking, make sure they feel like the Beyonce of the room, because I know we're all the Beyoncés of our own room, but right now we're sharing space and holding space. Rule number two, assume best intentions. This is a time for learning. This is a time to understand where we have to go, where we've come, and what is still need to be done. So if somebody says something that you don't understand or that you may not agree with, it's not meant to hurt you, meant to come against you. This is a place of safety. So just always assume best intentions. Three, that's three, I'd put up two. Challenge the idea, not the person. Again, a time for learning. We are gonna have stories that are exchanged, experiences that are exchanged, and if something in you makes you feel like I need to share something as a counterpart to this, if it's maybe a challenge of the idea, it's not a challenge of that person. That person is not trying to degrade you and to make you feel lesser than. If that certain concept does, know that that is that person's truth, and this is the time to understand that it's a concept, not a person going against you. Rule 4, I think this is one of my favorites and one of the most important. What is said here stays here. That's very important, especially with this conversation. This is a very vulnerable, very courageous place that many of our siblings, brothers and sisters are going to speak for. And this is where this stays. And I think it's important for all of us to understand that, whether we're sharing experiences or listening to experiences, this is the safe place to do that. And we need to help understand that and foster that creative space of safety. Number 5, this is the most fun one to say. Don't yuck anyone's yum. I love this one. And Sheri knows I love this one.
I love it too.
We all have opinions. We all have things to say, and we all have different reference points for life. So if someone shares something that they love and they want to hold some space for themselves on that, and maybe you don't love that, hold the space. It's their space to hold. Again, all these tie back into each other. This is also tied into one diva, one mic. If it's their turn, let them hold the space, and don't be like saying, "Oh, that's not actually correct," or "That's not like," or like that's not what is right. And I was like, well, you can retort, but you can also understand that
it's right to them.
Say with love, say with kindness. Number 6, we credit our illustrious, one of our leaders, Ali B, with this one. It's first my personal favorite. Believe in people's needs, especially today, with the conversations that are going to be had and the discussions and the experiences that are going to be shared. It is our obligation and our opportunity as allies of the Black community to listen, to hold space, and to actually recognize people's needs when they tell you. It is not your place to question if that is true or if it isn't, because they have told you. That is the whole big shebang of why we're here. So with that, I will see y'all later, and I'm so glad to be here. Love you all.
Thank you, honey. I love your lip. So that is how we begin everything. Sharon, I want to check in. How's the speed? How's the pacing right now? Is it feeling good? Good. You know, I think the thing that we have in mind right now is what we want to do is we want to take the time that we've spent since January, and we'll share that with all of you in just a moment. And what we want to do is we want to spend this summer and really make school, theater, the rehearsal spaces, the classroom environment, private voice and acting coachings. We want to make sure that we make our Black friends safe, so that when they get back to school, they know that they can enter and they'll be held with grace and dignity. And I think it's really, really important that we focus that this summer. And then later on, then we can focus on all the other communities that are marginalized and how we need to change those things. But we're excited to share what we're going to share with you. So let's get started. So glad everybody's here. Let's take a moment and talk about white fragility. Let's talk about white fragility. Think I've got Mark pinned. Am I pinned right now? Can everybody see me? I want to make sure that I can pin my video. There we go. Everybody see me now? We're going to talk about white fragility. I'd like to bring a special guest who you'll meet in a moment anyway, because she's actually sort of the main spearhead of OCU Care. Dr. Autumn West. She's actually in a car right now. But Autumn has been my right-hand partner in crime, a partner in justice, in helping us build the community at OCU. Autumn, are you available to speak?
I'm here.
All right, I'm pinning you. Yeah. Hey, Autumn. Hi. You want to tell us a little bit about white fragility? I said fright, and I was wearing my Freudian slippers because it is frightening. Right?
It is. I think it's frightening right now. We're gonna talk a couple of white girls talking about white fragility.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
I'm Dr. Autumn West, and I'm on the voice faculty at Oklahoma City University, and I'm one of the co-founders of OCU Care, and you'll be hearing a lot more about us as we go on. So yeah, let's talk about white fragility. What is it? It is the weakness or inability of white people to address race issues head on. The word fragility kind of speaks to how little it takes to throw us out of our racial comfort zone. And when that happens, a lot of problematic things can occur. Share an example from a recent conversation that I had with someone important in my life. It was a lovely, normal conversation, and then, as oftentimes happens, this person said something that was a little racially problematic. And where my response, admittedly, maybe in the past would have been to sort of silently pass judgment and not say anything because I didn't want to make it awkward. At this point, I feel like we can't do that anymore. And so I said, hey, that's a problem, what you just said. And the response was a really innate defensiveness. This person kind of immediately jumped to the conclusion that I was calling them a racist. And then, of course, they weren't anything of the sort, and racists are white supremacists, but this person was a good person. It was a very guarded, a very defensive conversation, and it kind of ended with a sort of a half-hearted apology saying they'll try not to offend me in future. So really problematic. It's one instance of white fragility, and I'm sure that you guys can, all of you, can point to instances that you've seen. The impact of this kind of reaction is a weaponized defensiveness that behind it, whether we want to acknowledge it or not, is the weight of history and institutional power. We do not want to be the problem as white people, but it's important to acknowledge that the system of white supremacy that's defined our culture since its inception, and because of that, every single one of us, we are the problem. So this town hall is going to bring up some topics, some issues, and some conversations that may leave you feeling a little fragile and a little pushed outside your racial comfort zone, and that is exactly why we're here. So I'm going to give you some mantras to build your stamina against white fragility. The first is from Brené Brown. We are not here to be right. We are here to get it right. You can get it more right. You can always be a better person. So keep that in mind. The second one, I'm not sure who to credit, but it's been running around social media. And for us as an organization of theater people, it's really impactful. Take the note. We are theater people. In rehearsal, if you are given a note, excuse me, you went stage right, I said stage left. It's not your job to explain why you went stage right. It's your job to say, thank you, I've got it. Next time I'll go stage left. So if you are corrected by a person of color, if you are given more information that illuminates something that you were unaware of, say thank you, and take the note. And that is what I have.
Well, that's wonderful. And, you know, it's interesting because, oh, anyone who needs to be, hold on a second, I just got a note from Tom. For anyone who needs to be put into a breakout room with an interpreter, please let us know in the chat. Well, the chat's been shut off. Tom, can we pop the chat back on? And then, oh, they could private, yeah, if you need an interpreter, private message, you could see Mr. Hunter. I'll introduce you. Actually, Mr. Hunter, can you make yourself known and say hi so everybody knows who's with you? He's the one who is actually like, he and Tom are producing this event. Tom, say hi too real quick. Tom might not be here.
We're just texting each other, trying to figure everything out.
That's okay. Just say hi, just so everybody can see who you are. Yeah, that's Hunter. So if you need his assistance here, just make yourself known. The chat needs to be just, I think you need to enable the chat in order for them to private message you.
So I have enabled the chat for them to privately message me. I will do that in a moment.
Okay, sure.
But we're going to turn the chat off so everyone can focus on
Great.
our speakers. But you can privately message me specifically if you need to be placed in a breakout room with an interpreter.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thanks, Tom. And that's Tom right there. Tom, just say hi to everybody. Tom's been my friend since we were in high school. He's a producer at Spotco, and he's my honey. And thank you, Tom, for producing this event.
Very welcome.
Appreciate you. So I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, Nancy. Nancy, turn your camera off. That's the message I got for Nancy. All right, I want to talk about my experience with white fragility. Can I invite Captain Elijah Caldwell, please, to the house? I would like to introduce you to Elijah, everybody. Elijah started out as my student. Oh, we're switching over to Candace. Yay!
I'm gonna switch interpreters.
Thank you, Sharon. Everybody meet Candace. Elijah started out as my student. And he is a coach, and an incredible coach. He's part of the Rock the Audition team. He arranges audition cuts for me on music notes. And he's also my teacher. I get to ask Elijah and our friend LaDonna Burns and friends in our community, can you tell me what I need to know so that I can be the best ally? So does that means a lot of things. So, but the thing is, I know I'm a great ally, but sometimes I fuck up really bad. And I did just about a week ago. And so what I wanted, because I'm always listening and learning and trying and making mistakes. And I think that we have to. And the thing that we're talking about in terms of white fragility is if we make a mistake, we have to be available to receive the note. So I want to show you an example of how I think I did a decent job on taking a note on something that was bad that I did by accident. You ready? So Elijah was the person who let me know what the situation was. So we're just gonna reenact it. And I'm gonna show you, I think, a really cool, easy way to address what happens when somebody gives you a note. So this is just a reenactment. Ready? Get a message from Elijah.
Hey, Mother Sheri, have you been on Facebook yet?
Not today, why?
Oh, okay. Let me send you some screenshots.
Okay.
Screenshot. So you have since liked this post and commented, yay, and there are prevalent theater people that have since responded.
So wait, are you saying I like to post? I love to post.
You love to post.
And the post was a bad post.
Yeah.
I liked the post because I saw, wait, hold on, let me look at the screenshot again. Oh my God. You know what happened, Elijah? I saw that there was a group of allies being put together, and I got so excited to see friends being allies. I just started going like, love, all the way down because I was so excited to see people there.
Oh.
And I was so busy in my head.
So.
I was unconscious and not thoughtful.
Yeah, and so all I ask is when we go from here on out, if you don't have time to read the post or have time to fully digest it, pin it for later. Pin it for later. Don't like anything.
Don't like anything. Okay. So I'm hearing you tell me that I did something that was not, it was an accident. It wasn't cool. And so I don't have that same accident. I'm going to be more careful so I don't accidentally offend people, because that's not what I want to do. I want to support people. Is there anything else, Elijah, that you feel like you want to tell me? Just because you see me on social media, you see how I am. Is there anything else that I could do to correct myself?
I think that's it. Because, you know, when you like something, that shows your acceptance and approval of it.
Read it first. Got it. Okay, so that's what, and that really happened with Elijah. Now I could have responded like, what did I do? What? I'm trying, Elijah, I'm trying. That's how I could respond, but instead it's basically like, what's my note? All right, you got it, I'm sorry. It reminds me of a little bit of a nurse personality, where it's just like, it's not about you in the moment, take care of the person who's having a hard time. So I just want to let you know that there's another way, which is basically like, hey, I got it. I'm sorry, I'll repair. And that's all we got to do. And the thing is, Elijah knows that I am somebody who will be corrective. And so you want to be somebody who can show up and be somebody who's adjustable. Just like how that's successful in acting, is if you're somebody who can take a note in the moment with joy and risk. And I think that that's the ultimate thing. So Elijah, thank you for just reenacting that moment.
Got you.
I think it's just another way to play rather than being afraid. Okay, the last thing that I want to do now is I want to keep Elijah here. And what I want to do, and this is the next part, and I want everybody to kind of put their seatbelts on for this. We would like to invite 4 of our friends to share very, very intimate stories about experiences they've had in the industry. Now, the thing that we wanted to set up with you is these are 4 people that I asked and chose to actually share courageously. And they were able to, in this moment, we said, hey, look, you can say their names, you can not say their names, you can, use your discretion in this moment to say what's on your mind. But I thought it would be a really, really great opportunity for us to be able to sit down and listen to 4 very, very different people from 4 different parts of the world with 4 different, very different experiences with just being a Black person in the world. And so we're just giving everybody sort of little bites or moments to share. We'll start with Elijah, because Elijah and I both are, the river runs right out the mouth. So we're very, very comfortable sharing. And then we'll invite a couple of other really awesome folks that I know, Ben, Viviana, and Aaliyah, and everybody's just gonna have about, a couple of minutes just to share. And what I'm gonna do in this moment, just to sort of set you up with what's about to happen, is I'm gonna moderate. And what Elijah's sharing. Now, when I say moderate, I'm not gonna moderate. I'm really just gonna listen to Elijah and maybe just ask him a question, make sure that he's supported and heard, and that I can move it along and feel like, okay, I think I know what you're saying in this moment. Does this feel correct? And then we can move on. But the idea here is that we want to just really listen, frankly, to a Black person sharing a very difficult thing, because we have the hardest time with that. And the idea is that I want to make sure that you find out, not only do we not have a hard time with it, but we can hold people with love while they're sharing, and it actually is, you get incredible results. So Elijah, will you take a few moments and just share an experience that you've had that's been difficult for you?
Yeah, so some people will hear from me later, and I'll go in detail about my younger years, but I'm going to focus on my graduate school experience. And I went to NYU for grad school, and I was in my graduate school class. There are 2 very specific instances that happened to me. There were a lot, but these 2 stuck out in my mind. So I'm from the South. I'm from North Carolina. And when I got to grad school, it wasn't anything that I thought. Like, I felt very whitewashed at NYU. And so by the time I got to second year grad school, I had a really good handle on what my Blackness was and what I wanted. So we had a graduate recital. And the first part of my recital, I wanted to entitle Onyx, which is another word for Black. So whilst trying to find my material for this, we had very specific things we had to do. We had a classical set, and then I wanted to do a jazz set, and then a contemporary musical theater set that was all based around Black people. So when I was trying to figure out my jazz standard set, I happened, of course, upon It Ain't Necessarily So from Porgy and Bess. I was singing this in class, and as I was getting adjustments and / corrections, I was told that I needed to think of collard greens and fried chicken. And this was in front of the entire class, and I sort of laughed it off because I was in shock that was said to me. Right. So that's the first time finding this material. The second time that happened, now in terms of history of Black music, and I know my history because my mother was a elementary school teacher, music teacher, and I grew up in a Black musical household. My dad was a minister of music. I know about Black music especially. I wanted to do Negro spirituals as my classical set. And I was told that would maybe work as an encore, but that doesn't really fit the classical genre, and maybe look at Aaron Copland, who is younger than slavery. So I want to bring in and say that my teacher at the school, Matthew Shepard Smith, who is near and dear to my heart and was one of my biggest allies in grad school, Sheri, he brought Sheri. He's the reason why I met Sheri. Yeah, we introduced us. He was like, no, fuck that. You're doing your Negro spiritual set, and you do not have to think of fried chicken and collard greens to be a great Black musician, and that's not a coaching note. So that sort of really saved my life, and being like what I would do. Also, during my time at Steinhardt, we would have two different types of lessons.
I'm there now, honey, and then you will be soon.
Right. We would have Steinhardt lessons, and then we would have real world lessons, because what I was being taught was not going to help me in the real world, essentially.
Okay, Elijah, so I want to ask you a question. When someone says, I want you to think of collard greens, what does it say to you as a human being?
That all you think I can do is cook in the kitchen and or eat. At this point in time, I was also I was much larger. I was 325 pounds. So it was the way.
Right, body shaming in addition to black shaming.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he thought he was doing it at the time to get you deeper into the roots of your history of something. I mean, was that his goal?
Right. That was it. That was the end goal. Okay. And that. Yeah.
So before, and I think if, Ben, you want to go next, just get yourself ready. Elijah, I want to ask you, what would you have wanted to happen in that moment, in that very moment when you said, I want to sing this, the thing that you would want to hear or say is, or what would be the nurturing or thing that would be something that you feel like you should have heard in that moment?
I think there was an absolute knowledge that I'm from the South in that coaching. And I think that I needed just the permission to be like, can you sing this in how you would want to sing this? Because I was very much so trying to fit into this box of what I saw being taught and what I saw from my white counterparts, right? So I was trying to fit into a mold that I just did not fit into. And I just needed the permission to be me.
And it's interesting because they want you to be you, but then also keep you from it. Not everybody, but you're saying in the moment, you were saying, I would like to be me, and they went, that's not you enough. Right. You're the one who knows what you are. Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to share? And do you feel like I understand you right now?
Oh yeah, I feel like you've always understood me after I tell these stories. Yeah, no, I think it's just having a place to share this, and other people will get the deeper North Carolina stuff that's a lot later. So that's it now.
So it's somebody saying they think that they're connecting to you, but they're really actually degrading you because they don't even know the relationship you have to that. And that's something I've learned. Ben, get yourself ready because I'm excited for you to share. That's what I've learned is that in the moment where you're trying to relate, you're actually doing something. So it's like, well, don't try to relate. Just get to know the person that you're with and ask them how they want to be related with. Elijah, thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Ben Locke, where are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Say hi to everybody and share with them something that you feel would be important for people to know.
Awesome. Well, I'm actually really happy that it's just a perfect segue into my story about like getting to know us as individuals and seeing us for like who we are. Because the story I want to share is from my senior year. I was at Millikan University with a double degree in theater and human services, and I was really interested in directing. So like for my sophomore year, I had talked to them about assistant directing one of the main stage shows, and they're like, "Oh, well, you can't as a sophomore. You have to wait. You have to take the directing class, and then as a senior, we'll usually pick someone." So I waited till my senior year, took directing, and one of our professors, because we had no professors of color, no Black or brown professors in our entire school of theater, which is very weird to me. But I guess the one like white savior faculty member who like always tried to advocate for Black and brown students.
I don't think Black people have felt welcome in the university as educators. I don't think that they've ever felt welcome.
Yeah, it was so it's very and it was something that we had asked for because we had a forum for like all the people of color and we couldn't agree on everything, but like the main thing that we agreed on was like we would love faculty of color to come to and to talk to. But that's a whole nother story. So I applied for this assistant directing gig. And so we had to like write a proposal and say like why we'd be a great fit, why we want to do it, so and so. And he ended up picking a sophomore, a white, attractive sophomore.
Wow.
So I was a little confused. So I emailed him and I was like, hey, I'm not saying it should have gone to me, but I'm a little confused because when I was a sophomore, these are the things that I was told. And so I came in, I had a meeting with him, and it seemed like he was just dancing around the subject. And I was like, what is it? Like, what's happening? And he was just like, you know what? I'm gonna be really honest with you. I just didn't want to be in the room with you. I did not want you. You were like, I had no intention of ever picking you because your energy just brings down the room.
What is your energy, please? Can you tell people what that energy that you feel?
Well, all throughout my college career, I always was getting like, you're very draining, you're such an Eeyore, like this and that. And I was like, well, because I don't fit in here. And every time I try to explain that I don't feel like I fit in, you blame me and say, I'm not working hard enough, or I'm not doing enough, or I'm not putting myself out there enough. So
I mean, it sounds like bullying. It's like an older sibling bullying you and making you cry and then calling you a crybaby. But
yeah, so like so by my senior year, I was like very antisocial, very like just over it, and I just wanted to get out of there, but still trying to find ways to fit in and still push forward. Yeah. And I was just like, I didn't know how to respond. And I could see that he could tell I was very visibly upset. Yeah. And instead of asking me like, what did I need, or just being aware of like, wow, I really hurt my student, he was like, you know, if you need to scream and yell and tear up my office right now, like you do that. And in that moment, I was like,
why?
What? Yeah, I was just like, what in the past 4 years of getting to know me has told you this is the type of person that I am, or that immediately I'm just gonna go to rage, like I'm just like some animal. And I just like, I've never felt so looked over. I've never felt so stereotyped. And like to be a senior, to have a professor that has gotten to know me for 4 years, to be like, that's clearly the solution for this young Black, visibly angry, visibly upset, visibly frustrated person.
Right.
And I was like,
go tear up my office.
Yeah, and I was just like,
on.
I just couldn't. And so I just was like, no, I think I need to leave. Like, I actually feel like I just need to leave this room right now. And then he gets up and he's like, well, can I hug you? And I was like, very confused. I was like, no, I really, truly just need to leave the room at this moment. And I did. I just felt so dismissed, so undervalued. And I just felt like you poked the bear and then asked for a hug. And I was like, it seems very much more for you than even for me. So yeah, it was a very, very weird thing that like really, truly hurt to just like feel so reduced to a stereotype. And that's what's it breaks my heart in the world to see that that's what is happening to so many Black and brown people, that we are getting reduced to like these violent, animalistic stereotypes that are not us. And like, no matter how much you try to show ourselves to the world, it takes something that small to be back to some stranger that you are reducing.
Ben, thank you for sharing that. And I want to know, would you say as a whole that you wish that people would stop automatically assuming that Black people are going to be angry and have issues with everything and come and meet you at a neutral space and just know, trust and get to know in the moment that you're going to get actually great things? When you assume I am also going to meet you there? So you're saying that you, if I'm correct, you're saying that you want people to, and just as an FYI, I would love Viviana to get yourself ready. And Ben, thank you. I'm in a relationship with your school, so I think it's like so important to know that you want to be seen, you want people to actually be aware of what they do to you so that they're aware of the response that's coming from you. And that we have to be more responsible for the way we're showing up so that we don't get responses that we don't know how to.
And that it would just be nice to be asked what we need rather than telling us what it is that we need. Because that would have been really nice in that moment.
Yeah. You're saying that he doesn't know better, one, because how would he know better about what a Black person needs? Two, it's just, you know what you need and you're looking for, I think, the relationship to be able to say what you need and have them hear you and have them meet you halfway.
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. Yeah.
And thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you. Viviana, get your sweet Fanny over here and tell us about your life. Does everybody see that I'm just holding space for people? Just listen.
Sorry. Hi. It's saying that it is not letting me share my video right now.
Okay. Can we ask our handsome gents to take care of Viviana?
There it is.
Yeah. There. Hey.
Hi.
Hi, Viviana.
Hi.
Viviana, thank you so much. Do you go to Oklahoma City University?
Yes, I do.
Great. Do you want to go ahead and share your a story that can tell us a little bit about your experience there?
Yes. So specifically, I kind of want to touch on, I guess, the stereotype of what a Black person is supposed to sing like or supposed to sound like.
Fantastic conversation.
And it kind of started with my college auditions, and I kind of auditioned for about 8 to 9 schools, and I would sing Vanilla Ice Cream or Summertime because that's just my thing, singing kind of classical and golden age. That's just what I was taught by my teacher in high school, and was never taught to be ashamed of that or even think, oh, okay, I need to make sure that I prepare a backup Black song. In case
What, is it backup Black song?
Yeah.
That alone, I think, is plenty to be very, very upset about.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Before my college auditions, I never even thought about that. I was like, I'm going to go in there, sing my song, be completely fine.
Yeah, do me.
Yeah. And then I would go in the room, sing my song. I feel great about what I've done. And then immediately after, like not even a second to breathe, they'd say, oh, well, do you have anything else? And I would say, okay, like, what would you like to hear? And they'd say, how about like The Color Purple or Once on This Island or Sister Act? And I was like, well, I can try and see what I can gather up, but that's not really my thing. That's not the way I've been taught to sing. Right. And I would love to learn how to sing that way, but that's not where I am right now. And it kind of just hurt me with college auditions because I was like, you only know my name and you only heard me sing this one song, but I've been reduced to, okay, that's nice that she can sing that, but like, what else can she do? Let's see the Black side of her. When I'm like, well,
this is the Black side of me.
And it kind of transferred over to my life at OCU because that was the one school that I was never asked that at in my auditions. So I was like, oh, this is going to be fantastic. I'm going to go here. I'm going to be great. And I'm going to have a space to learn how to kind of sing differently without being labeled as a Black singer. And sorry.
It's a lot. No, that's okay.
Oh my goodness. So
thank you for being vulnerable. Is this real, everybody? Go ahead, dear. Go ahead.
It's really just been pressing on me these past 2 years specifically because I'm either labeled as, oh, she's a Black girl that's not really Black, or she's a Black girl who can kind of sing, but like isn't really on the other level as everyone else. So like, no, we don't really need to pay attention.
Because you're classical. So you're not on the level of the stereotype of Black girls that everybody thinks is competitive. It's a completely misinterpretation of you. Yeah.
And at times it like when I say it sometimes, it just sounds like so minuscule because I'm like, oh, it's just singing. But I'm also like, well, this is like literally how I was just made to be. And I like try and I work with my teacher with like kind of technique and things like that to kind of live up to that standard of a Black girl. But there are times that I'm like, okay, like that's just a song that I can't sing because I was just not made to sing that way. But it kind of just hurts because I'm like, okay, well, do I have a career in this?
Do I have a career?
Yeah.
People have been telling you is what it is. Well, and you know, okay. So you're amazing also for sharing this because, and being, yeah. I think that it is a big part of the problem of the industry growing up for me, and please forgive me, like in the audition room, not for me personally, but for my friends who audition, they would say like terrible things like, can you make it a little bit more street? Can you black it up a little bit more? Make it a little bit more, and you know, I'm not gonna say anymore because everybody knows the things I'm gonna say. And the thing is, you know, or sing it like a bop, 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 you know, and then like all of those things demean because the stereotypes, one, everybody's built different. We're all different. So somebody is saying, I know you're different. I'm not interested in your kind of different. I'm interested in the other. When your kind of different is so special because yes, you're Black. Yes, you are. You're also a legit soprano. So you sing. Who said that these characters are white? So you're saying, please look at me as a human being that is also Black.
Yeah. And kind of just, I guess, focus on my talent and not say, oh, because she's Black, she has to be able to sing another way. Because
and recreate the way that we're seen.
Yeah. And I notice it a lot in different master classes that I do when someone else who is not a person of color will get up to sing a Golden Age song or sing something classical in opera. And they're never questioned, oh, do you have anything else? Oh, like this song is perfect for you. I totally see you as this character. And not, oh, well, this is great. Like we can work on this a bit, but I would really love to see you sing something else. Or I would really love to hear your belt, but not understanding that it's just not something that everyone has.
Yes. It's looking at you and going, what are you like as a human being? And I think ultimately that's what we want is for any person of color or any marginalized person, any person with a disability, any person of any kind to be not seen as the stereotype, but seen as an individual and met face to face as an individual for how they bring their talent to the table. Is there anything else that you want to share? This is a very important story. It's really how we have to change the way people think of talent.
Mm-hmm. And I guess kind of on the opposite spectrum, for the people that did accept my classical singing, I was immediately labeled as, oh, you're a little Audra McDonald. And that was kind of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's great. I look up to her, but like also
not her.
Audra.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing this story. I know that a lot of the people here understand it and understand that it's happening. Thank you for sharing because it's going to change. Promise. Oh, it has to, right? So this is thank you so much for sharing. I want to bring one last person in, and then Tom, I think we might want to take a potty break before we introduce OCU. Does that feel doable, Tom and Hunter? I think it's a great idea. Because then we can come refreshed. I want to share one more really, really special young person. Aaliyah, can you get your fanny out here, please? That's okay.
Hello, hi.
Hi, where are ya?
I'm right here.
Oh, great. Hey, Leah.
Hi.
I'm just finding you. I just want to pin you. And everybody, after that, we're going to take a 5-minute potty break, and then we'll get right into action. Hold on. I got to still find you. Can somebody help me find this creature? Oh, I found you. Okay, there you are. Hey, dear. Share with everybody what you want to share about your experience as a Black person in the world.
Yes. So I would like to share my experience at Belmont University. I'm a sophomore musical theater major, and I would like to share really 3 mini points of my defining moments in my college experience where I felt like I've had to choose between getting such an amazing musical theater education and having an absolutely racist college experience things have just defined me. So starting off, when I first came to Belmont, I made a group of friends in my dorm, and we were sitting in my dorm and we were talking about life, and one of my friends called me the N-word. and it was
a person who was a friend, like
yes,
a close peer,
like a close friend.
Can you tell us how she used, what context she used it in? You don't have to tell her what she said, but was it like
basically
using it like, hey pal, hey friend?
Yes, it was more like
terrible.
This is exactly what she said. I don't understand why you niggers get to call each other that and whatnot, but we don't. And that really stunned me right there. Sorry, I wasn't expecting to get this emotional about it, but
why not?
That was something that really hurt me, because I felt like as a young college student, as this was my first major experience in college, that was something that was going to define me throughout my 2 years. And so then what I was unaware of at the time, she also made another comment about my hair, and at that point I had asked her to leave. And so there were comments made about me on Snapchat, and basically what was said was, she said, niggers will always be niggers. And that was shared to me, and I shared that with my university. And basically, they asked me what I wanted to do. And at the time, I was very emotional. And I felt like this person was my friend. Mm-hmm. These were my words. I said I did not want to ruin her life. Mm-hmm. So my university took that as I didn't want anything to be done. And so nothing was done. And yeah, that was a moment that just completely, I'd never stop thinking about in school. Another major moment, I was in a piano lesson, and I was talking to my piano teacher about this experience, and she said, I don't know why they would ever treat you like that. You're one of the good Black people. You're not one of the ghetto Black girls that talk like, hey girl, and all that. And she literally said that to my face. And I was stunned, and I was embarrassed, and that this is what my piano teacher thought of me, as she didn't see me as a young, talented musical theater student. She saw me as one of the not ghetto Black girls, but that's what she thought of Black.
She was complimenting you, and yeah. That's white fragility, right? That's the problem, is that we think we're being good, we think we're being right, we think we're being thoughtful, and we're actually doing damage. And that's what I think the big issue is, when we think that it's right, and it's very wrong.
Yes, and it's one last moment that completely just changed my experience at Belmont. I was in a music history class, and my professor, he came in and he stopped class, like completely in the middle of class. He looked at me and he said, Aaliyah, did I see you in the Jack, with one of the buildings we have on campus? And I said, no, I was not in the Jack today. And he was like, are you sure? And I was like, I'm positive. And he said, oh, must have been another Black student. Stopped in the middle of class to say that, and everyone just looked at me and stared at me.
Not him saying that, right?
Yeah. And I was fighting back tears the rest of class. And I feel like I get such an incredible musical theater education at Belmont, but at this time, I was the only Black girl in the program. I felt like no one related to me. And so I would go into class just completely turned off from emotion and could not. I feel like my education was put on the line because I'm Black and I don't have the same experience as my white counterparts. And so that definitely affects me as a musical theater student. And it's just been really a difficult time for me, but luckily I have professors who are actually in this session right now, and
yes, they're here, everybody. And I want to just share with you that, Aaliyah, did you reach out to me? Who made the first contact about this?
I reached out to you, and I just wanted to thank you for that masterclass, that beautiful masterclass you had given us. And
I did a masterclass at Belmont, and then you private messaged me, and you're like, people are being horrible. I'm like, what? Yeah. Where are they? And then it turned out that I was like, wait a minute, your teachers are my friends, and let's get them together and get them here and get this fixed. So good news.
Yes.
Here. And we're going to make it better. Everybody, I want to take thank you. Is there anything else that you want to share? I'm so lucky that we get to have this moment.
That was it. Thank you.
So everybody, we're just going to take a potty break, and we're going to come back, and then I'm going to introduce you to OCU Care, and I'm going to introduce you to Sunny. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, I can't pin my own video, and that's all right. Oh, there we go. We're going to tell you some of the ideas that we've been creating over the last 6 months to help take care of the whole marginalized community, the whole community proper, but that can really, really focus on the Black community so that this doesn't happen anymore on the school level, but then just period. Because this happens in every rehearsal, not every rehearsal, but you know, it happens all over and it doesn't stop, and we can't have everybody keep shutting their mouth and swallowing it anymore. Nobody. Hey everybody, you can come on back in and we'll get started on round 2. We're also going to open up the chat and we're going to open up for questions, but really what we're trying to do right now is just kind of let you know the state of things. We're introducing you to some college students, but we also have some other people to introduce you to. But I want to get set up with our next, sort of the next cool thing that we're going to do. We have a breakout section that's coming up right now. It's this same amount of time as sharing, maybe 10 minutes, not very long. But what we're going to do is we're going to break out into smaller groups. And we're going to have a new group of people just share in the same amount of time. But what we wanted to do was we wanted to be able to have people be able to share things privately. And for the folks that are going to be, so what we're doing is creating breakout rooms. I'm going to introduce Hunter in a second. He's going to tell you about what that's going to look like. Come on in, everybody. Just turn your sound off, please. We're going to go into breakout rooms really quick. And so we're going to let the folks in the breakout rooms decide whether they want to open it up for conversation and share a story and have people ask questions, or maybe they just want to share. They will also have moderators. By the way, the moderators that they have, I decided I didn't want to call them moderators because they're muses, okay? But some of our moderators, and let me introduce you to them. By the way, I want to just make sure I'm looking. Hey, Candace, welcome back. Are we working at a decent speed for you? Does this feel cool? All right, because you know, you're the master of the craft, baby. It's not easy, but thank you. You're both excellent. I'm going to introduce you. I'm going to call out their names. We have some performers, a music director, who are going to share privately with you. But we also have these muses, and I want to just introduce you to the muses right now, because in particular, OCU, Oklahoma City University, is the university that we work with. But some of the muses are actually graduated already, and they are a part of OCU NYC, which is the, you know, after you graduate, I forgot what that's called, alumni, when you become an alumnus. But this is after school. How do I take care of myself after school in the environment I'm in? How do I survive? And so I want to introduce you to them. They're Wes and Taylor. Can you folks wave hi, just so folks can see you? They are with OCU NYC. They're grads, and so they're going to be doing this work in the after they graduate. And I also want to introduce Bree, who is part of the OCU NYC. On my Kristen, who's also part of OCU NYC. Mark Munoz, Nasser, and Simone. These are our muses. They're going to just pop in and they're going to do the same thing that I did with the folks that are there. And then you're going to pop into a private room and have a little bit more intimate sharing with people around their experiences. They may be exactly the same and they may be different, but we just want you to have a couple more bites before we go in and talk about the things that we want to do to support our family. Hunter, you want to come over and tell everybody about this cute little break situation?
Yes. So we are honored to have 8 breakout rooms, which is fantastic. You have been randomly selected to be put into these rooms. 2 of them have interpreters. I've only had one person message me and tell me that they would like to be in a room with an interpreter. If you would, please private message me right now on the chat if you'd like to be placed in one of those rooms. And our main room will be open. So Sheri and I and Tom will all be in this room. So if you are uncomfortable for any reason, or you just want to talk to Sheri, you can leave your breakout room and come into the main room, and we will be here waiting for you.
Yeah, if you're in a room and you're uncomfortable, say it's somebody that you know and, you know, it's tricky, you are allowed to say, hey, I just want to pop into this other room right now. I want to give this artist space. You know, that is totally cool too. So just let us know if you're like, put me in another room. That's also amazing. So we'll be there to make sure everybody's in a spot that they belong in. So Hunter, will you do the honors and put everybody into these little groups, and everybody, once you're in, yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Hey, everybody, thanks for coming in. What we're gonna do while everybody is coming back in is I'm gonna ask all of our muses to just have one sentence, just one, that says, I get that this is what this person has experienced. Very simple, does not have to be a 10-minute, doesn't have to be longer than 15 seconds, but it's really simply, I hear that this person has experienced this, or I feel this person deserves it's whatever it is, just one sentence. And then we're going to go to a very different part of the town hall. Thanks, everybody. We're also going to open up the chat soon so that we can start asking questions and engaging. But we just wanted you to have the experience that needs to happen, which is just listening without judgment. Okay.
We're starting to all get back.
Great.
We're probably waiting on 2 more groups, I
Great.
would say, to wrap up and get back in here. But we've got exactly 1 minute until they will shuffle back automatically. Yeah. Looks like we got 1 more room to get back in here.
Great. Also, awesome. So, Mark and Nasser, Simone, maybe in this order. Mark, Nasser, Simone, Taylor, Christian. Wes, if you want to contribute, please do. And Bree, if you can all just, in that order, we could start, I could call your names off, but Mark, we'll start with Mark, Nasser, Simone, Taylor in the first order. Just one sentence of what you heard, what you got, what your experience was, and then we're going to go to this very cool next part of the town hall. Thanks for being patient, everybody. We got a late start, but it's going really good. Okay.
You want me to start first, Miss Sheri?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think the biggest thing.
Matthew Ellenwood, shut your screen off. I love you. That's okay. You're cute as hell. I love you. Please.
Also, can we just have one of the moderators on at a time so that we're not blocking out our interpreter? Thank you.
That'd be wonderful. Yes. So then we'll do the order: Mark, Nasser, Simone, and Taylor. Mark, Nasser, Simone, and Taylor, just in that order, one sentence at a time. Thank you.
My sentence from, you know, what we learned, education is the key and the start.
Great, that's where it has to start, here. That's why I'm being such a bitch about it, because everyone's like, the producers and I'm like, yes, that's right. But we have to show them here that there's another way to do it, and then they'll be like, oh, there's another way to do it. Thank you, Nasser.
What we took away with our room with Ben was that we can't be gaslighting our performers of color. We have to believe them when they're hurting. And the best way to save space is by being proactive and not reactive.
Wonderful. Proactive and not reactive. Simone.
What I took away and what we took away from our breakout room, our storyteller, Mary Nixon, was so clever enough to boil it down to 4 points. Examining our individual work as allies, acknowledging the perpetuation of racial injustice in all of our lives, becoming change makers, and amplifying Black voices. Incredible 4 points that are awesome starting points. They're not just all that we need to know, but starting points to continue doing the work and standing up for our Black friends and dismantling white supremacy.
That's all. Very simple. Taylor.
Yeah, hey, I was with Miss Beautiful Viviana Goodwin in her room, and the biggest thing I think I took from that, and we all took from that, is like, you have to give us as Black people options to try out the different varieties of theater and of educational training. Our white counterparts are allowed to experience so much in their training. They're allowed to be classical, they're allowed to belt, they're allowed to be the lead, they're allowed to be the ensemble. And Black people are in this box of what their training should be. And you have to let us take the reins of our own training and work with us and allow us to lead, because we've never really been allowed to lead in our lives. And so when we're in a university setting, allow us to lead, allow us to be the voices of our own stories and support us in that way. And let us make mistakes. Let us make mistakes and let us be messy and let us be just people, you know? That's really what we took away from that, yeah.
It's a really important lesson, Christian. Thank you. Really appreciate you. Where are you, Kristen?
Hi. Took a couple of things away. First of all, Elijah is the ish. Second of all, in order for us to see change in our industry, white people have to be okay with being uncomfortable, and understand that growth is never comfortable, that every Black person has a plethora of experiences where we felt ostracized and like our feelings were invalid, or like we were the problem child in the room, when it's actually the opposite. So in order for us to achieve equity, white people need to understand that this is going to be uncomfortable, and that's the only way to move forward.
Yeah, and you got to be in the uncomfortable space with it. And I think that that's crucial. Wes, where are you, honey? You got something to say too real quick? I'm sorry that you didn't get to muse today, but you are my muse, and that's all that matters.
Oh my God, stop it. No, I think Nasser summed it up very beautifully. Another point that was made that I took away from it was, once we show the people up top, once the people that are the leaders of the industry, once they start showing that it's not that hard to hold space for everybody, it'll trickle down and it'll help everybody else beneath.
I like that we get to hold space and show them how to do it. Thanks, Wes.
Absolutely.
On mine, where are you, honey?
I'm muted, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm trying to find it.
My group really talked about, everybody has a different experience, and everybody has experienced racism in different ways. And so know your people, know what they need, and meet them with what they need. Everyone has different needs regarding this. And it really starts with transparency, understanding our privilege, and being able to open a dialogue about it. Being willing to admit that we were wrong, and being willing to admit that we are not 100% right all of the time. And opening our spaces with dialogue and communication from the start.
Talk about it, like, and I know I have a big mouth, everybody, but like, I like talking about things right on the front, you know, like right up front. What is happening to you? What is your experience? How do you feel? I feel uncomfortable. I feel really bad. Can we fix this? You know, like, just say it. Don't tiptoe around it. Bree. And then I'm gonna introduce you to the core of OCU and what they're doing, which is nuts.
One thing I took away from what John said in our group was, everyone has a sphere of influence, no matter your color, no matter your background, and you are in a position of power in someone else's eyes. So make sure that you're taking the time to reach down and lift them up and promote their voice, no matter their color, no matter where they're at. It was a great group.
Incredible. So what you're saying is the industry needs to take people of different backgrounds, but we'll start with Black people, and say, hey, I have succeeded already. I have figured it out. I might not be where I want to be yet, but I've figured it out enough to grab your hand and take you with me. And so there needs to be more of that in the industry. And I think that that's crucial. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. I think it's a very, very important part. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, muses, for listening. I'm just showing you how easy it is to listen and communicate what you hear. Okay, I just want to introduce you to the core of OCU right now. I'm handing it over to show you how incredible this last semester was. In 10 words or less, I'm going to introduce you to them right now, but I do want to tell you that we worked together every single Wednesday during the pandemic, and we were each other's touchstones on Wednesdays, and every Wednesday we just no matter what was going on, we just spent time focusing on how to make it better. And so I just want to hand it over and introduce you to OCU Care. That's Karen and Autumn and Nasser and everybody. I'm going to go ahead.
Cool. Okay, can we just get our officers on first? So Bree, Mark, and can I also get Professor Miller on here?
Great, thank you. Thanks, everybody.
All right, yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Nasser Panjwani. I'm a rising junior musical theater major at Oklahoma City University, and I'm also the president of OCU Care. Thank you all so much for joining us today. This has been incredible so far just to get to hear these stories. A little bit about myself is that I am Pakistani and gay, and I have always struggled with seeing myself represented on the screen or on the stage. And I want to be that representation for people, but representation can't come without equity, so we have to fight for it. So that's my story. Bree?
I'm good to hear Nasser. He's the president of OCU Care.
Guys, my name is Bree, and I'm also a rising junior at OCU, and I am the vice president of Care. Just like Nasser said, it's hard to see representation, and I want to see the box grow for what Black people can do, and so I'm here to fight for that as well. Go ahead, Mark.
Fantastic.
Hi, everyone. Mark again. My name is Mark Mendez Munoz. I am a rising senior studying musical theater at Oklahoma City University. I am the social media manager for all of everything Care, Facebook, Instagram, anything. So and I also control the email. So whenever you reach out, it's more than likely me you're talking to. I'm also head of the disability, neurodivergence, and accessibility branch of our advocacy groups. A little bit about me: I am a queer, disabled Latinx performer. So on multiple levels, there are things that I wish were better and wish I could see myself more as, and I could think of nothing better to start my senior year off than to, be working with y'all, and we're ready to hit the ground running.
Thanks, Mark. Is there anybody else from the OG team, or do you want to share and introduce?
Yeah, so we're gonna have Professor Miller go, and then we're gonna introduce our branch leaders, yeah.
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Karen Miller. I'm the Assistant Director of Opera and Musical Theater Program at OCU. I'm a professor in the School of Music, and I'm a part of the coalition to educate myself, to deepen my own capacity for empathy, and as Dr. West so wisely said, to get it more right and to make sure that our students at OCU have a safe space to grow as artists and to become leaders in the field. And frankly, they're already leaders in the field. I'm so proud of everybody.
Thank you, Professor Miller. And then can we get our branch leaders on here, as well as Simone, to introduce themselves? And then Sheri, Bree and I will come back, and we'll just quickly give an overview of what we've done this year.
Fantastic. Are we introducing anybody to anybody? Did I miss it?
Yeah, I might. Go ahead.
Oh, there you are.
Hello, I'll start. Hi, I'm Unmai Carney, and I am in charge of the Red Branch, or Racial and Ethnic Diversity Branch of OCU Care. So I just wanted to tell you guys what our branch is currently working on. Currently, our branch is taking steps to respond to police.
Oh, we just lost you for a second. Your sound went off.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so currently our branch is taking steps to respond to police brutality and violence against Black people in our nation. We are planning to use our social media platform to help educate people on Black culture and history and define important terms in the conversation around race. We're also taking steps within our OCU community, creating dialogue with our deans and coming up with creative ways to use our gifts to highlight the people of color who have been instrumental in the music world. Bree Reed says this all the time. It's because marginalized communities are so much more than the oppression that they face.
Very well said. Anybody else add in and say, Maddie, are you saying hi? No?
I think Brandon first.
Oh, Brandon. Okay.
Perfect. My name is Brandon, and I'm the branch leader of the LGBTQIA+ inclusion branch. At our first town hall, we discussed several things, including having a way for students to self-identify their pronouns when they audition and creating safe spaces and resources on campus for students that are coming out. I think this goes without saying, but at this time it's crucial that we recognize ourselves as allies, and as a white gay man, that I am an ally to all of the LGBTQIA+ community instead of a small amount of it. So,
well said. Good to see you. Maddie?
Hi guys, my name is Maddie Powell. I'm a rising senior at Oklahoma City University, and I am the head of the Mental Health and Wellness branch of OCU Care. The Mental Health and Wellness branch has done some work to get some mental health education crash courses and resources going, and that's all currently in the works with Sheri, but right now we are specifically taking this time and this time well into the future to hold our Black community close and offer them the necessary tools that they need to cope with the trauma that they are actively living through, as well as educating our fellow allies on how to best care for themselves while still holding themselves accountable and leaning into the fight.
Woo! That just took my breath away. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Is this our, oh no, it's not our complete team. Simone.
Hey everyone, my name is Simon Gomez Villegas, and I'm a part of the Racial and Ethnic Diversity branch with OCU Care. I'm really grateful to be a part of an organization that has the power to keep our institution accountable to enact lasting change. I also wanted to give a shout out to Denise Lee from Change the Perception, DFW. This Zoom event was actually inspired by the community calls that Denise and her team organize every month. The next actually is on June 22nd. So be sure to follow Change the Perception DFW on Instagram and like their page on Facebook to continue listening to important conversations. Thank you to all who came, listened, and began to unlearn today. This is important work, and we are so happy that you are finally doing it.
Thanks, Simone. Appreciate it. I think Bree and Nasser, you're gonna show us a little bit about what you've been doing.
Sheri.
Oh, Mark, yeah. What is there, one more thing?
Oh no, I just wanted to introduce our disability and accessibility branch a little further.
Oh my God, I am so sorry. I got so excited.
Oh no, you're all good, girl. You're all good, Aunt Sheri. Yeah, so along with being social media manager for most of our communication, I also am head of our diversity, neurodivergence, and accessibility branch. Bit of a mouthful, which is why the shorthand is DNA. And we are striving to emulate what Sheri already laid the path for in October when she had her first coalition about accessibility and disability. And we are taking initial steps to help everyone understand what is needed and what is from our industry and from our community for people with non-typical neurodivergencies and non-typical mobility issues. And we like to use the term circumstances, not challenge or issues, because they're not. They're just circumstances we deal with. So we're excited to get to work, y'all, and love to see it.
Thank you, Mark. And invisible disability, that's a whole nother thing that people are not addressing yet, and that's gonna be a piece of the puzzle. Bree and Nasser, go for it.
Yeah. So basically what I want to introduce now is what we've done this past year, kind of set the stage for it a little bit. For me, this all started with feeling like I was kind of being unseen at OCU, feeling unrecognized. And I think with a lot of the stories that we've heard today from our Black members of the community, it's not an uncommon thing for students of color to feel lost in their collegiate programs. And luckily, we have a really wonderfully open faculty. And Bree and I actually, took the initiative to, before the coalition was officially established, to go and talk to Professor Miller and address, some of the things that we were feeling were being overlooked in our program when it came to people of color. And a wonderful educator like her just had a pen and a notepad, and she said, "I'm here to listen." And I think that sets a wonderful example for educators across the country, high school, collegiate, any program. I just think that that's such a wonderful example of how we can be an ally that has influence and can start implementing change. So with that, I want to introduce what CARE is and our mission statement. So CARE stands for Creatives for Artistic and Realistic Equity. So to put it simply, equality is sameness while equity is fairness. That's why we fight for equity and not just equality. Our mission is to foster and maintain a safe environment where our marginalized students can be heard, and to implement action in order to educate our community and ensure equitable opportunity for the marginalized groups at Oklahoma City University and in the performing arts community as a whole. Really what that means is we're here to listen, we're here to share, and we're here to make change.
Ooh.
Yeah, so now off to Bree.
Bree.
I'm just going to share a couple things on how we set this up, how we started it, and things that we're going to be doing. It's going to be short and sweet. So the people we grouped together to start this were faculty, students, mental health professionals in our OCU counseling services, our diversity and inclusion office, alumni, and industry workers. We began by creating a safe space, and we created branches with minority groups that we felt our campus had that needed to be promoted, which are the people who just introduced all 4 of the branches. We then elected leadership positions so that we could be organized, and then we set up action steps and goals that we wanted to accomplish this year, including town halls. We will have 1 town hall for now per branch, and in those town halls, we want to educate and foster ways for people to be advocates for those minority groups. And so we have also started our social media, which Mark has spearheaded. And so if you want more information and if you want to get educated even more, follow OCU_care on Instagram and then OCU Care on Facebook. I'll put those in the chat so that you guys can follow them. But those are just a couple things that we've been doing this year. And we're so excited to grow even more.
Thank you so much for sharing. And the whole idea, everybody, is that we want there to be, there's OCU Care, but then there's like OU Care, and then Syracuse Care. And, every school has the capacity to be able to build this kind of program where everybody takes care of themselves. And we feel like it should be the same exact thing for productions and classrooms that are, when we've got acting teachers here in New York City, are they holding safe spaces? Or do all of the programs that are musical theater programs for teens, for anybody, are they safe spaces? And I think what we want to do is create what a safe space looks like and then share with everybody so that they can create their own and have it be adaptable to their programs or their productions. Bree and Nasser, thank you so much.
We're going to switch interpreters.
Say that again? And thank our interpreters. Yes, Candace, thank you. I want to bring in one final special guest. Everybody will just be like maybe 10, 15 minutes more, but this is like a super phenomenal human being. I want to introduce you to Sunny Naughton. I'll tell you that I met Sunny, I don't even know, when my first edition came out. We met, she's involved with Camp Broadway. And we came back again, and it was one of those things where I was like, wow, the universe is very magical. I want to let you know that, as part of the mental health initiative, and I have a mental health initiative with Rock the Audition. Some of our members are here today. Sandy is here. Sandy, Sandy, Kathleen, Stephanie, Michael DeCourcy. This was my mental health team. We met with Sunny and we decided that we wanted to create a mental health first aid program because Sunny is trained in mental health first aid, and I'm about to ask her what that is. We had a really, really great idea on combining mental health first aid and the things that need to change inside of an educational environment, so that because underneath all of the traumas that we're all underneath all the things that are going on and all the things that we all have to work through is trauma and pain. And so we want to be able to kind of address that really briefly and introduce what we're doing with you. Carla is also here, I think, Carla. So this is Sunny Naughton. Sunny and I both have PTSD. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. We both have complex PTSD. If there's anybody who wants to know about it, we get traumatized and our nervous system gets stuck in the trauma. And then we try to be like regular people after that, and we almost make it. But we don't quite, because we're operating from our trauma. And so we believe that we have to actually heal and work with the trauma in order to get change done from our end. And so Sunny, can you tell us a little bit, brave, amazing angel, can you just tell us a little bit about what mental health first aid is? What is it?
Absolutely. And I just want to say before I go, you just used the word brave. I just thank everyone who shared their stories today. Brave was the word that kept up in my mind. And I think it's because it's one thing to go through an experience. It's extra brave to come back around, to be able to talk about it, to be able to process it, and to be able to help people with it. So through what you learned. Yep. So mental health first aid is basically CPR, but for mental health. So it's going to, it's a curriculum. It's traditionally in person 8 hours, but actually tomorrow I get the go ahead on the virtual learning modules. So then people will have a self-designed couple of hours on their own, and then we'll meet together on a learning platform and we'll go through some activities. We'll talk about what they've read about, and we'll really get into, you know, what is mental health? What is mental health first aid? We'll learn action items. We'll learn actionable things you can do in your life. I really, to boil it down, it's just learning how to be empathetic, how to be non-judgmental, and how to help somebody get to that professional help. You're not learning to be a therapist. You're absolutely not learning to diagnose people. You're just making sure that you can see someone in the grocery store, you can help your cousin, you can help someone in your school, get to that next step of professional help, hopefully avoid crisis situations, but we also talk about what to do if you find yourself or someone else in a crisis situation.
Thank you. And I'm so excited about that, Sunny, because I feel like there should be, if you're going to have an equity deputy, you should also have a mental health first aid person. Do you have a mental health, do you have somebody who's trained in it in your office? Are teachers trained in it? Are students trained in it? Somebody should always be in a professional environment that's trained in it.
I absolutely agree. And one of the initiatives, so I've been up in Vermont for the last few years working on my health and working on my mental health. And that's how I got involved in this program. And one of my goals here in Vermont was to get, you know, at least, let's say I live in a very small rural area. I wanted 200 people trained. Well, once people started taking it, we have over 500 people trained. And if you think about it, each one of those people then goes out and can help other people. So there's a ripple effect, and absolutely having it in the workplace is incredible. So something I will say about mental health first aid is currently I can offer adults helping youth or adults helping adults, and an adult is considered 18 plus. There are modules, so there's a higher education module, which is for that traditional 18 to 24-year-old student. I didn't realize I wasn't a traditional student. I went to college at 27. So also what I've proposed to Sheri and Rock the Audition, that there is not an LGBTQ plus module. There is not a Black Lives Matter or systemic racism curriculum specifically. So when I get the access to the new curriculum tomorrow, I'll learn what updates they've made. It's a very responsive and responsible organization. And then I will look it over with Sheri, with members of the team, and we will see what can we build upon, because it's very customizable. And then I want us to come together, and I already have emails, I already have calls with the National Council of Health that oversees this to say, okay, look, this is what we actually need. Let's build this curriculum ourselves and then share it back out with the world.
Awesome. And our friend Carla Martinez, Carla, I don't know if you're here, but Carla is going to be focusing on working with Sunny on mental health training for people of color, because it's crucial that we understand that I don't think all trauma, I think trauma understands itself in the brain in a certain way, but the experiences are very, very different. And so we're actually going to spend time this summer. Oh, and Carlita's here too. Great. Stay still for just a second. I just saw you. But what we're going to be doing is working this summer with Caitlin Hopkins is here with us. Caitlin Hopkins created the mental health program, Living Mental Wellness at Texas State. We're going to be training with her program and developing our program. And so this summer, we're going to be developing mental health for the theater community proper, and all of the different facets that is in the diamond that is very rough right now. Caitlin is here, and I also want to mention that we have a friend, Carlita, who created Darkness Rising. I know we didn't get a chance, we won't have a chance to talk, but I just want everybody to know that I want you to look up the Darkness Rising project. It is Black people, people of color, and mental health. We're all trying to get together and make this formula really, really specific to what's going on in the world and how we can take care of each other. I think that I wanted to say that you have some actionable next steps for the summer. right? Can you share that with everybody?
Yes, absolutely. So Sheri is going to be circulating a link to a Google document. So we're going to ask anybody that's interested in signing up to take mental health first aid this summer to fill out this link. In the next 2 weeks, Sheri and or I will be in touch with scheduling dates. We are kind of calling this a back to school initiative. So July, August, September, we want to work to get people trained. And so basically, just for your own mind, it's a 4-hour digital training that you and I will do together in groups of 10, but prior to that, there will be some prep work. So I'll learn all the details tomorrow, and then I'll be checking in with Sheri. And in the next 2 weeks, you will be hearing from us. There will be dates you can sign up, and we will move this forward. I am so thrilled. I would just want to say that I left the entertainment business 5 years ago. It was my whole life. I'm 35 now, and in the last year when I found out I had several opportunities to come back, I said I can't do it unless I can come back in a different way and offer some new, different knowledge. So this is just so special that I have been welcomed into this community. So thank you, and I can't wait to meet you all and train with you over the summer.
Absolutely, and thank you everyone, because the thing is that, you know, at a certain, everybody was, you know, when I was in my whole theater community, my whole sort of theater, and thank you so much, Sunny. I just want to say my whole sort of theater career, I've always been somebody that people thought, oh my God, she's such a genius, but you know, she's got mental health issues. Well, we all have mental health issues now. We're in a pandemic, okay? Good news. I've been working on my mental health issues since I was 20 years old, and I got a leg up. And so that's why, even though I have them, now I have them to be able to create a healing mechanism. And so I just want to let everybody know that working with Caitlin, working with Carlita, hopefully, that and Carla, and bringing this into the school system and then eventually into production, we could have safer environments. Thank you. I want to do one quick favor with everybody. Thanking Tom and Hunter. We're closing up shop, but I want to actually open up the chat and open up for questions and, you know, just open up the conversation about what you've heard and seen. Can we please just take a quick second, because when we head out, we'll say goodbye. Mention that everyone will receive an email. Oh my God, we have goodie bags. I have to mention that. Everybody's going to get an email, and it is chock full of goodies that will help you and help your career. It'll be everything about OCU and what we're doing. Everything is you're gonna get a yummy goodie bag. I also want to thank our unbelievable interpreters, Candace and Sharon. I don't even know, we all talk so fast. Everybody's got so much anxiety. I don't know how they do it. Okay, I want to say, there's so much to say thank you about, but I think if we can turn the chat on, if anybody—
The chat is on.
Great. If anybody needs to split, please go ahead. If you can stay for a few more minutes, I just want to open up the conversation, and I want to thank everybody for coming here. You know, we have a long way to go, but at least we have something, which is that we have colleges and hopefully performers and hopefully everybody in the upper institutions all want to make this better, and so we're just giving them little tools to be able to have it be easy and not so scary. Thank you, OCU. Thank you, Sunny. And let's just open this up for questions and answers. Okay, yeah, I see the chat lighting up. I'm just gonna go ahead and just throw some questions out there, and then we can ask if anybody wants to answer. Okay, Mel says, I'm learning a lot. Oh, Mel's just saying it was beautiful. Thank you, Mel. And I also assumed you were a he. Mel is whomever you are. Okay, there's a lot of thank yous. Nobody has any questions. Okay, you're having dialogues at Kennesaw State. Great, well, we'll look forward to it and working with you. Okay, everybody's just saying thank you. Thank you for coming, everybody. Thank you, OCU, you're incredible. I can't wait to take care of our Black friends this summer.
We do have a question. We have a question.
We do, I didn't see it. Who's got the question?
Yes, from Aaron. From Aaron, it came specifically to me, so thank you, Aaron, for
the mental health first aid training, by the way, everybody, is $24. $24. And also for the schools, it's a little bit more, but it's just adjusted to a university. So just know that that's how cheap it is. That's how little you can spend and help yourself and help other people. It's exciting. I love that. Okay, what's the question?
The question is, Aaron wants to know, is this specifically about CORE? Is this specifically for people currently in or involved in higher ed, or is
No.
that a resource applicable to those in the industry as well?
No, thank you for saying that, Erin. No, the reason why we brought everybody here, even though it's a college initiative, is because we want to do this in the industry proper. But we had to start it in colleges because it was like right now, it was like a college said to me, we're in danger. And it's like, well, then let's help. So I actually just grabbed whoever said they were in danger, but the whole community's in danger. So the thing is, we're just starting with the people who have fire and energy and want change and will do it. And that's college students. The college kids are going to save us all. But the fact of the matter is that we really, really, really want this to happen in the entire industry and in situations where it has nothing to do with the industry. Maybe it has nothing to do with the theater industry, but you work in an office in a not-for-profit and you want everybody to be better with each other. It's just a way to kind of be like, you're different from me, and I want to appreciate and acknowledge you for your difference and hold space for you to be different. And we need to learn how to do that. So the answer is, we have dreams for it to cover toenail to curler, the way everybody communicates with each other. Any other questions?
Sheri, we do have a couple other questions. I'm going to privately message them to you so that you have them all.
In response to Viviana's story, I just want to read this from Joy Doing. I just called her Jew Doing. Joy said, in response to Viviana's story about stereotypes in repertoire, I deal with this a lot in coaching. It's endemic to all marginalized communities. I struggle with the language of respecting the culture while also encouraging them to select material that isn't so specific to race. Right, so Joy, what we really need to do, and if Doug Peck is still here, we're doing that right now with our work on music notes, is we're trying to take gender and type off of our material to the best of our ability and have people pick things that they feel that they can relate to. This is the whole idea. A soprano is a soprano is a soprano, whether you're male identified or female identified or any juicy thing in between. We just kind of want to open up the gates and change the way everybody is expressing themselves so that, you know, great casting directors, I think I saw Duncan here, but I'm not sure, but an example of like Duncan, they want to see you be a human being. And so we have to start training people as human beings. And you're right, Joy, it's going to take a complete rearrangement of our furniture, but we can do it if we do it together. And we can, because OCU has already proven it's possible. Okay, great.
So there were a couple questions about care. Mind if I answer them?
Answer all of them.
Yeah, so care kind of ended up being a perfect storm. So what really happened is that Sheri came to our campus in the fall of 2019. That was the start of my sophomore year, and she was just doing her, Rock the Audition masterclass that she does with universities across the country. And she, at that point, from my understanding, spoke with our directors and said she wanted OCU to be a part of this college division of her Rock the Audition coalition.
Pilot it, yeah.
And we were hoping to pilot it, and it just happened to line up with the same time that I was speaking up about the things I was seeing in our program and voicing our issues that we were having as students of color and meeting with professors and talking about it. And it led to us reaching out to other students with the help of Dr. West, who had to drop out of the call earlier, but she really led the game on this. Reaching out to students through their voice teachers to find out who was interested, who was passionate, and we all just came together and we had our initial meeting just to express what we were feeling and what we were seeing in our community. And that was all right before the pandemic hit and we ended up getting sent home, but it was a good intro for us to get started. It was just students that saw a need that needed to be fulfilled on campus for people to have a voice. And so it just happened to line up with Sheri also coming in and being a catalyst for bringing her Rock the Audition coalition into things, and it all just kind of like merged together and CARE was born. We also do actually have some resources that will hopefully be in your goodie bag. If not, they will be up on our Facebook page, on our Instagram, and hopefully elsewhere. A kind of templated guideline for how you can start CARE in your own institution. It doesn't need to be college. It doesn't need to be high school. It can be
a private voice studio or an acting class.
It's truly just it's just a guideline showing the steps that we took to create a safe space in our community. And I'm also a graphic designer, so I put the graphics together, and hopefully you guys it's easy to follow and you guys can enjoy it. But I also saw a question. Yeah. So what were the first steps of creating this amazing organization? The first steps was just students speaking up about what they needed and faculty listening, and that was really the first step. Once you have that, then you will know where to go. A path will show itself. But you just need people that are willing to speak up and people that are willing to listen.
Wow. That's
Can I add to that, actually?
Yeah, go ahead, Simone.
Yeah, sorry, I just came out of nowhere.
Oh, it's okay, Simone.
But I think what really helped OCU Care get like off the ground was obviously you, Sheri, having like an outside
If you want
figure
to switch, let me know.
to legitimize the care concept, but also to get your faculty involved. Like they not only have to listen and like be aware of the needs, but like include them in those conversations and be like, this is a problem at the school, and it's not enough for us to just tell you what the problem is. You have to help us with these issues. And I think and throughout its inception, OCU Care has been really supported by its faculty, by the directors of the program, by directors of shows, even the counseling center at our school. So like getting those faculty members that are willing to help really legitimizes the concept of this coalition. So I think that's a priority to definitely like a goal. If you want to round up a team of students and be like, all right, it's time to go to our administration. It's time to talk to them and be like, this is a problem and they just can't be ignored anymore.
Yeah, and faculty commitment means commitment. Both of our directors of our program were present for this town hall, Dr. David Herendeen and Professor Karen Miller. Yeah, he was in my breakout room. And that kind of commitment is important. Mindy, our counseling services person that has been involved with the coalition since day one, was also present here. It has to be about wanting to make change, not just wanting to look like you're making change, but actually wanting to make change. That's really essential. Yeah.
Thanks, Nestor. I want to bring up another question, and I want to say ask who wants to answer it, because it's a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant question from Matthew. It was just about intersectionality. I just got to find it. Hold on a second. Thanks everybody for being patient. Where is it? Where'd it go? Oh no, I can't find it. Hey Matthew, can you ask it out loud while I'm looking for it?
Sure thing. In our breakout room, the concept of intersectionality as allies came up, and I'm interested in, I think I'll expand on what I wrote a little bit, that I think that the point was made that it can be pretty painful for BIPOC people to hear white people talk about their experiences with oppression as ways that they can kind of contribute to the cause, right? And relate, right? And I'm wondering if there's a way, and I don't know what the answer is. It might be yes, it might be no, but I'm wondering if there's a way that people, specifically white people, can use moments of oppression that they've experienced to fuel their allyship.
First of all, Matt is a really good friend of mine, and he teaches at Boston Conservatory, which is a school that needs to know this question very badly.
Accurate.
Yeah.
Can I speak to that as a person of color?
Yeah, I'd love it.
So I'm a POC, but I'm not Black. So being in this time right now has been very interesting to navigate because since I'm not Black, and a lot of people don't want to burden their Black friends and Black communities right now on how to help POCs, I've been getting a lot of outreach, and it's also a weight for me in that capacity. But I know that even though I deal with prejudices and discrimination, it is not the same thing that our Black community faces. And so every conversation that I begin with a Black friend, I start with, I know I don't know your experience, but here's mine so that I can try to understand yours. Because I will never know what it's like to be a Black person. I will never know that kind of oppression, especially in the United States. But I do know what discrimination and prejudice feels like on my end, and that's what I will use to reach out to you. But I will always acknowledge that I will never know what you're going through.
Before I ask Bree to speak, and I think this is really, really great, what you're saying is almost, for lack of a better word, my pain body and your pain body are meeting in the same place. I understand you where we both have struggled, maybe. And so that is where I can hold space for you.
Yeah, I think, it's more about the space and recognizing that, I can't get to where you are because I don't know that experience. And I'm not going to try to pretend like I do. But this is my experience, and it may just be like a taste of what you've experienced, but this is how I'm going to try and understand what you're dealing with.
Right, that's how you're meeting people where you both are. I think it's quite lovely to know that you don't have to be, we've all suffered from various different things, but I think it's really meeting in the understanding of that. Mark, do you want to add anything to that as somebody who comes with multitudes?
I love that. Thank you for coining that term for me. But yeah, as someone who represents all 4 of our current branches in one package, kind of, intersectionality to me, as far as like understanding it as a white ally, as a non-disabled ally, as a neurotypical ally, wherever you may end up finding some kind of privilege in, it's all about showing up to me. I think it's been more exemplified than anything in our faculty advisors. Professor Karen Miller, Dr. Autumn West, who's my personal voice teacher, have been nothing but amazing,
I don't know.
an amazing resource for all of us here. And I've gone to them multiple times and for help, and they've been understanding. And this is the first time in my life where I had white allies, as far as authority figures in my life, and as mentors say, "What do you need?" And I think that it's the most important
question
I've ever been told. And I think that what I'll say to help answer the question is that if you just show up in a genuine way, that is all that is needed. Because and I will emphasize a genuine way, because a lot of what we've been seeing as far as the movement with BLM and with the protests, and it's not that I don't understand it and I get it, but I feel like people need to understand there's a difference between activism and performative activism. And
well, that's another town hall, isn't it?
Yeah. And just being genuinely there.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's always needed.
And because to me, if you're genuinely there, you're there forever. And it's not one of those things where, to me, it's like, and I'm going to pass this on to Bree in just a second. And if anybody has any other questions, please add them. I mean, this has been incredible. But like, I was talking to John Bronston, who was one of the people who shared today. And I'm like, I'm feeling the energy drop already. Everybody's like, yeah, we're Black Lives Matter. Yeah. And then it's like, break it. And I'm like, what are we going to, and what I was talking about with John is that we actually want to help, but people just don't know how. And when we're asking our friends of color, what do you need? Sometimes they don't know, because we've oppressed them for 300 years. So, it's going to take a minute for people of color to actually say, can you give me, that's a lot of the time where they're like, you should shut up and sit down, please, because I don't even know what the fuck I want right now. I've been oppressed for too long. 400 years, excuse me. I was close, I guess, right? Too long. But the point is that, we have to create the room to hold space for the Black community, and then eventually all the other marginalized communities to even figure out how the fuck they feel about anything, because it's just been too wrong. And so I think that's the whole idea. Oh, of course. But that's the whole idea, is that we want to just make sure that we know how to hold space. It's very simple, and yet it's been so hard. Bree, anything you want to add?
Yeah, just along those lines, I think the best way to have unity and to come together is to take the time to listen, because if you don't know our stories, there's no way you can empathize with us.
And how can we help you make stories?
Yeah, and each Black person has a different story. So once you hear one, that doesn't mean you've heard all. And so make sure you are taking the time to listen to each Black person within your group and to say, I am listening to your story. I hear you. I want to know. And I think that's the best way to approach trying to have unity. Yeah, that's all.
I love that. And the final thing that I'm going to add to that, and then I think we can let everybody go have their lives, and thank you for being here. Black people are a monolith, which is a wonderful way to say that. Okay.
No, we're not. We're not a monolith.
Oh, can you describe what that means? The word monolith is, I have street smarts. What does it mean?
So Black people are not. I was actually going to use that statement to answer the professor from Boston Conservatory's question. Yes. So Black people are not a monolith. So being a monolith means like you are one level, right? I was just having this conversation today, meaning that people don't understand that we can have had pain, have laughed it off, have have handled it in whatever way that we needed to and pushed it down in a rule of 3 before anybody's ever thought of that we had issues with our trauma. Does that make sense? So by Black people not being a monolith, we have had to deal with multiple levels our entire lives. So when it comes to dealing with entering in a conversation with one's own trauma and the intersectionality of trauma, I would say that it as Bree said, I want to repeat and echo.
Yes.
Listen. You have to listen and know that it is a time for listening as much as you want to dive in and be like, oh, well, I can understand from here, but I also think that it's a thing that you can't. And even in the last show that I did, we're just getting onto Black people being fetishized and Black people knowing exactly how it is that they move through the world and having terms for these that white people don't even know that we have, or people that are not Black do not know that we have, because we're just figuring out these terms for ourselves, as you just said. So I think it is remembering that, yes, remembering the statement that Black people are not a monolith, or anybody of any kind of state that is oppressed is not a monolith. We can handle all of the emotions. I can laugh, I can cry, I can be upset all at the same time. And it's not just, you're racist, go to hell. Like, it's not just all that.
Right, I see exactly what you're saying. I really see exactly what you're saying. Monolith makes sense to me. And I think that the other thing that we want to encourage of everybody here, and I think that this is, and thank you, Elijah, I think this is my last sort of, for lack of a better word, the last thing I'd want to say. This isn't just about Black people. Every single person with a disability, every single disabled person is different. Our friend Ali Stroker has said, I was just with 6 people. We were all in chairs and we all talk about it differently and we all experience it differently. Every single person is different. And so, yes, you have to do your research and finding out what trans people are like, right? And then you have to meet a trans person and say, okay, I know what I read and now here's you. And we have to do that with everybody. But we get to start with our Black family right now, because the sooner we start with them, the sooner we can learn how to be with everybody. Literally one stone. Thank you, Ellen. I love that. You're a great nerd. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. We can't wait to get this moving this summer. Really appreciate everybody. If you have friends that are allies, if you have teachers who need to hear this, if you have friends who want to be a part of making this, our theater community better, please tell them about us. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Hunter. Thank you, OCU. Sunny's not here anymore. Thank you, Sunny. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming. Let's make this place better, shall we? Thank you to our unbelievable sharers, our storytellers, and our muses. Thank you. See you all again. And Mental Health Initiative, we got work to do, so let's meet up. Bye, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.